Eric, I've been wanting to ask you about focus value add. If we're going back to our previous discussion, I know you yourself, you had a very interesting podcast, a very interesting webinar about it. Tell me a little bit and share with our audience, what do you think about focus value add? Why do you think it's essential? And how should the organization incorporate this KPI to really understand they are going in the right direction when they implemented their demand planning process?
Okay. When you're looking at forecast value add, when you any type of KPIs when you're looking at for demand planning, you're going to look at the direction of your error. I need to look at that. That's my bias, and I'm going to look at my direction of error, and I'm going to look at my magnitude of error, how much uncertainty, how much variability I have, and I'm going to look at both of those because I'm going to either learn something and try to improve it, or communicate something so somebody else can manage it or improve it themselves. That's the reason why we have. Those aren't targets, those aren't benchmarks, because you're going to have variation between planners and items and customers and industries. Those those are inherent noise in my data and my planning process that I'm trying to minimize. To manage the process and the input itself is where you have forecast value add. And it's a real easy concept. And we're looking at, Mike Gilead, one of the pioneers of forecast value add years ago. Really, it's an easy concept if I can take a snapshot before and after I do anything. So here's my statistical forecast. Let's look at, I'm trying to add some judgment to it. I have a statistical forecast. How would it have done versus what actually occurred? Okay, that's one snapshot. I add my intelligence, my subjective inputs into it. I now have another forecast. How did it do against what actually occurred? The comparison between those two is forecast value add. So it's not a hard calculation to do, but it's a powerful one, because now anytime I can look at any change in my forecast, a process step, or any input, I can measure the impact of that change or process step. The delta between those two is forecast value add. And observing that over time, similar to do with any KPI, observing over time, I'm now seeing if there's adding value, or maybe, guess what? We don't add value to the process. We need to trust the inputs more. Or maybe these inputs aren't why. We need to then be a feedback loop of why these aren't. So we need to change the way we're bringing in these inputs. Now we are adding value in the future. So it's a simple concept. It's a powerful tool for demand planners, and it's actually becoming one of the most utilized as far as KPIs we're seeing companies start to implement right now.